welcome to my channel. um, Sorry I'm not as excited as I wanted to start this off. My goals for starting this YouTube channel were based off of me doing hair and me doing beauty, despite what you see the mom face today. um, I wanted to start it off with an intro. I had goals set for the first week, but there has been so much surrounding my TikTok post that I feel I should start it with lifestyle. I didn't want to, but there's so many questions I'm being asked and so much online bullying and so much support that I wanted to bring more awareness to it. I didn't realize how common childhood abuse is and sexual assault is towards children. You know, you feel so grown when you have to parent yourself at such a young age that you ignore things for a while. And so I wanted to get on here and I was actually more provoked by a negative comment of me creating this YouTube and surrounding it. And I feel like I not owe, but just want to share kind of what So I decided to bring it over here because I can talk longer about it. I no longer am dealing with my imposter syndrome. I had goals set for this year, guys. And in doing that healing, I realized how big and traumatic, there's big traumas and then there's small traumas, like betrayal, you get cheated on, whatever. But then there's big traumas, and you never forget your first. You never forget your first time. That was my first time. And so always going back to it, and in the back of my head is like, I didn't enjoy it. I wanted him off of me. I cried, things that just, you realize the difference, and it was different. And I wanted to share that. And as I was going through my healing journey last year, it was just ups and downs and backslides, and growing with my husband and growing as a mother, labeling my emotions and putting words to the past situations that I've been in helped me. Talking about it, speaking up about it, helped me realize that this is something I had to deal with. I kept praying, and I'm like, why is this in the back of my, I'm trying to push this down here. I'm trying to push this down. Everyone tells me to push it down, let it go. And my spirit was just like, don't let this go. Don't. My spirit was never nasty and led me to believe that I wanted this man in jail, or I just had hate for this man, or there's certain comments of, it's not true. And I'm just like, I didn't just go through a catalog of rapey looking men. You're like, this fella looks a little rapey. I know this man. I've known him by Loco. I've been on this man's motorcycle in the past. I've been around this man. This man took my virginity. And I don't think it's talked about enough. I don't think that I've talked about it enough because it was always silenced or shut down. And I wanted to, yes, use TikTok as a platform of my story. Because every time I tried to share my story, it was always just so discouraging feedback that I was going through what others went through and saw so much positive feedback that I'm like, yes, I want to feel that. I want to wait. Like when I woke up and saw messages of people just saying, I believe you. I've never been told that before. It was always applied like with friends or, my husband, like, of course they care and they'll hug you. But no, I've never heard the words, I believe you. And that did something in me that was liberating. And so I wanted to share that. And I will tell more of the story and other, I'll make a like part 1, part 2 if you guys want. Comment. Tell me what you want answered. Right now, I just want to kind of introduce myself because that was just kind of wild behavior. But anyone who knows me and my ADHD, I'll do things. So I didn't do it with a malicious intent. It sucks that he has daughters, and them being women. Well, first I just want to go to that he holds titles with people. He's a father. And I feel bad for them that is the truth for me. Because even in me posting this, if he just would have like emailed me and was like, I'm sorry, and just for whatever reason, I would have just left it alone. I probably would have did some healing with the therapist about that, but I wouldn't have like sought justice, because growing up in the projects and being a black girl from the projects, so much was overlooked, so much. And I wanted to address certain comments like, my mom deserves to be prosecuted, or I feel, and this is, they're saying I'm starting all these platforms, but I've had my podcast, and in my podcast last year was more of my healing journey and what I'm experiencing with my family, because it was surrounded by so much generational pain in my family, and women not speaking up about their own sexual assault. Like, my grandma's 69 and still hasn't spoken up about hers. She's told me personally, but has not spoken up about it. Like, has not had a voice about it. And I feel that's important. And I feel that I gave her that voice, and I sat there and I listened and I truly felt, and I got off the phone with her. I prayed, I cried. And then I just kept calling her to be there for her. And more came out of my mom's sexual assault, So yes, things were overlooked, but my mom, I think sexual assault and sexual abuse is different. My mom's never done anything crazy like that. Yes, there was just a generational pain and hurt there that she couldn't mother. But I don't feel in my heart that she needs to be prosecuted for anything. I think the prosecution is just me telling my story. That's all I just want to be heard. Because even I want children to have a voice and say their inner child, to just sometimes say our parents fucked up. They did, but they didn't know how. And so it's not completely their fault, but at some point I just wanted some accountability. But it's never a loss of love. It's just a loss of trust with that. It's like that's that small trauma, that betrayal trauma that we think is just so big because we cloud our minds with it. Well, for me, I was clouding my mind with it, but it was just a mother wound, and I'm learning more about that. And the more I learn about that, and the no contact with her, she hasn't seen her grandchildren, things like that, or is more of a karmic uh, uh, thing that needs to happen in her life, but I have to continue mine. So when realizing my mother wound and experiencing healing in that, like true healing, like I can see her and probably hug her. I don't hug my mom, but I feel that, and that's from knowing her story. And I wanted to just share that because his story and my story and our paths crossing is a big part. It was my first time, and I'm angry about it, and that anger went into, it was misplaced in other relationships. And my husband, I was kind of mean, but not intentionally, just traumatically. Like, I don't know. And so realizing that and apologizing to him and being a better woman and being a better wife, I realized that it's not, there was another comment about like me hating men. I don't hate men. Like, I have a good relationship with my father, um, with boundaries and everything. Just he's there. I realized he wasn't there in life, and he's just living his life, just like my mom. I definitely believe God gave me the right parents for whatever I have to do now, and I just wanted to address the negative comments of the accounts, and I know that he's making accounts, so I also um, hope that he sees this, and I I hope that I didn't want, like, when I made that, I didn't think that it would reach his daughters. That was in the back of my head because when I went on a search for putting an actual face, because I kind of, that face like hunted me. I kind of always had it in the back of my head, and it was a certain fear to that face. And so seeing him, I felt a disgust, not a hateful. I think people think that, like, I hate this man and I just want him to go to jail forever and lose his family. Like, I just said what happened. Whether it was 10 years ago or I should have, people are telling me you should have processed this a long time ago. I feel like I've been processing it my whole life, but it's been on like pause, ignore. I ignored it for so long that when I finally spoke up, it was this loud. And again, it was liberating. It was like, oh, oh, this is what a hug feels like when you need to be validated, when you need to hear the I believe you, when someone believes you, when it's not like, shut up. I mean, I know his family wants me to shut up, but I can't. And I won't be like keep posting pictures of him, or right now even prosecuting. It's crazy because, I've been threatened with defamation, and I didn't. I thought it was freedom of speech. I was just telling my story and the face that hunted me. I know that you know what happened, and I know that he knows. Like, I don't know why I was thinking posting that would be like, that it would even reach him. Like, I just had a dream of him, and he was in my dream. He obviously didn't kill me, but he was killing me in different ways, in different locations, because I always remember that drive and how I just wanted to get out the car. I just remember the drive. And I had this nightmare. I woke up and I just was filled with anxiety and panic. And I was like on that. I was just seeing the other women speaking up on TikTok, and I was like, I'm proud of you. I was proud of them, and it was encouraging. It was like, I'm gonna call out mine. Like, shoot, we can do this. Like, we can get pictures. We can show his face, the face that it was. I I didn't realize that I was even groomed, and then from being groomed, I didn't realize that I had Stockholm syndrome. I didn't realize, like, at the time I'm 13, and I'm like we're like walking around the projects. He's not hiding that. It was like, people have asked, why didn't you just get away from the situation if you were scared? When you're a 13-year-old girl, and even like your father or like a male figure is aggressive in their tone, it scares you, and you get into this freeze mode where it's like you do. You don't question, you don't. So he's like, stand there. I stood there. Don't move. I did not move. No, he didn't beat me. Sometimes he like grab me and like, stay here, if I tried to walk away. But like, now talking about it, it really sounds like I was like pimped out, and speaking out about it, you don't realize these things because you're so silent for so long. You don't even know how to put words to it. You just don't. It's just what happened. So if I am 29 right now, and one of his baby mothers was on my live and said that she had a child with him, and that he's a year younger than her, so he's 43. And I haven't lived in Denver. Like, I've moved out of Denver when I was I believe 14 or 15. So how else would I know this man? Just, I don't understand what I have to gain about lying about that, because I'm not. Even if he could just say, because I didn't expect to even hear from him. Like, I went to sleep with my little 600 followers and and was satisfied with that, like, and was cool. I just was like, oh, this is I can self-express. I can, raise awareness for other teenagers to watch out, because I wanted to start, like, I wanted to start this year, but in a different way. I didn't think that it would be this. But in that liberation, I feel that I released a lot. I did. And just telling that, and just people seeing him for the first time, and I no longer wanted to look at his pictures and, like, discuss. I wanted to see to look at it like, this is an abuser. This is one of my abusers. And when I start labeling, it was sexual. When I put even just other people in my life that were abusive, there's, there was my mother, there was emotional and physical, like, too spankings and you cross the line. And then there's other, people I was putting in boxes and labeling. And that's just what I did with him. And that was just a form of me labeling that. But there was so much more, and, I was only going to post that, like, once. I wasn't going to keep showing, like, his face, but I was going to post the things that I learned in this healing, and which I'll still do, because a lot of women are speaking up now and saying what age they were and what justice they got or justice they didn't get. And I just went through a whole nother spiritual war. I went through one last year with just the generational pain and generational traumas within my immediate family, and you just keep getting more woke. Like, people who know. And I no longer want to, like, I'm at a stage of just releasing. Of releasing things from my spirit, and I don't want to. I want to release guilt, victim blaming, and people are saying, why speak up now? What would have happened if I spoke up then? And when you're so scared, like, he's literally like, I'm your best friend, you have nobody. When someone's convincing a 13-year-old girl that doesn't have guidance and who has children, so he knows how to talk to children to make them listen, because even now, just, I understand that his daughters love him. And I had said even recently that it doesn't make him less of it doesn't make what he did to me disappear. It may have not been a big thing in his life, because if it was, he would have came with an apology. But for me, that was my first time, and you never, like I said, you never forget that. You just can't. And so when I see my oldest getting older, and my sisters getting older, and looking at them as women, I'm like, young women, I'm like, I would kill a man that is 30 years old just hanging around my 13-year-old, like, sister, or like my like ew. Because I'm almost 30, and I'm just like, I'm not just gonna be hanging around a 13-year-old, or would have a 13-year-old in my house and undress that 13, like, that's just ew. And so when I felt that disgust, it's not a hateful disgust. It was like, really, I was throwing up. I've been throwing up the last few days since this happened. Once I did that, without even all the likes and comments and views, I just felt, with the little 600 people that were like, I believe you, I literally fell to my knees and cried and felt the ground for once. I didn't realize how numb that situation made me live my life. My whole life. I'm almost 30. And everybody is like, why are you speaking up now? Like I said, my grandma's 69. She has not spoken up. My mom is 49. She has not spoken up. And I wanted to be the first one to break that cycle of not speaking up. Because now we have the internet. We have a platform. We have easy access to view people's hurt. And that hurt me. I don't know. I don't know how else to say my truth without hurting someone. This is going to hurt. But it's not defamation. It's not true. I know this man. I'm not a liar. I had to break that long ago. But I realized how much I was manipulated and how much I was protecting him because of his situation. If I thought that way my whole life, I would just sleepwalk through life. And I can't sleepwalk anymore because there's so many people out there that need to hear this and need their story to be heard. I'm in my children's PTA. I have great suggestions of making a child aware of when they are being abused. I love every child so much that I want them to have the best childhood. And the fact that so many children, so many adults' inner child is hurting, I want to be there to hug that too. Because I wish someone when I was younger would have done that for me. I do. You know, people ask why my family didn't help. They're in another state. They didn't know what was going on. When you have a narcissistic mother, everything is a lie. You don't know your own truth. And so having no contact with her for the last 4 years, I realized how much I went through in such a short amount of time, because I find older people that are just getting here. And if I was to like a crazy person and were to pick a random, I wouldn't pick a man that has so many kids. That's his fault that he has so many kids and with so many baby mamas. Me being married and giving consistency to my children, they don't have that. So I wanted to take that story away. So I'm sorry that so many people love him and that he wanted to be. Those are his decisions. Those are his messy decisions. Whether he was a good dad, bad dad, there, present, not, whatever. He has a lot of dang kids and they are coming for me. And so in the spiritual war, I'm like, no, my God is stronger. Like, we can go to war. I'm not a fighter, but something in my spirit, that resilience is making me like fight more. The more negativity I hear about me lying and just the false accusations, people telling me I have false accusations and proof. And it's like, no, I am on here to say I don't have proof. I don't have, like I said, when I was 13, cell phones were just like coming out. Like, I'm not that old, but me being born in 93, you know, in 2007, you know, I was still playing with my mom's like beeper sometimes. And so that, no, I mean, there's one time I got my nails done for my 8th grade continuation with my best friend. I have friends that were around. I do have them to know that I haven't talked to in a while. If, I don't know, do your research and ask them. Like I kind of know that now I have to be an open book, and that because I've been through court before, and everything is a process, and they look through everything. I'm okay with that. Someone suggested a lie detector test to like really like not lock up an innocent. I would not lock up an innocent black man. My husband's black. I would never. So a lie detector test, I'm willing to take that. I'm willing to just answer questions. But I'm not willing to take that down because so many women have been messaging me with their stories, and I started my podcast last July for women to come on and tell their story, for them to know that their pain is from their generational pain or generational curse or generational traumas, that it stems that her inner child stems from her inner child, their parents, their whoever was their caregivers inner child. And I'm like, let's just have the children have a good childhood so they don't have to heal that inner child for the next generation. But for the past generations, I'm like, let's heal that. My husband is my biggest supporter and has told me so many times that I'm in a safe place to heal. He's here for my healing. And I do, but I still wasn't accepting that for a long time. And so when I started accepting that, I from that dream, I woke up and was just inspired to do so. I was just like, hey. And I don't know, like, would the wording have made it just an easier blow? Like, this man had sex with me when I was 13. Would that have been any less of, like... But for him to just say, like, he doesn't know me, and then to say that he'll never be my friend, it was like... It sent chills down my spine, because I'm like... You'll never be my friend. Like, you did. You used to say that, like... I'm your only friend you can trust, and why would I hurt you? I would never hurt you like your mother's doing. You know, this man has children, so he does know how to talk to children. I was a child. As much as I thought I knew the world, you know, I just stayed quiet. I didn't have a response or a rebuttal to what he was saying. I was just listening, because I didn't grow up in a household with a father figure. And when he would be like fathering me, I just thought that's what you just do. I just went into freeze mode. I just did. So no, I didn't fight. After a while I stopped saying no, or I just stopped. I just would freeze up and tense. You know when someone's uncomfortable. Like I talk to my husband all the time about this, and he's just like, no, I know, like, that's gross. I know when a woman doesn't want me to even like touch their shoulder. Like, you back off. You know, and he's been real gentle and sweet through our process, because when we had gotten married, we just decided, like, let's not, you know, let's just renew ourselves. And really, like, experiencing for the first time, like, a long-term sexual relationship with someone, you realize how wrong I realized how wrong my first experience was, and how young I was, and how old he was. Like, I don't know. It sucks that he has daughters that love him that much. I mean, it doesn't suck. I love my father too, but if someone told me my father, because I had that detachment from him, if someone told me my father did something weird to him, like, I'm gonna, like, call the police on him. I would. I love my dad. I still, like, wrong is wrong. But even to not go that far, it's like I would just encourage, like, you need to say sorry. That's disgusting, Dad. Like, that was disgusting, bro. You probably won't be around my daughters, but, you know, I still love you. You know, like, you can still love a person and they did something bad. You know, it was bad. It was wrong. I think I I did have a lot of hate in my heart in the beginning as a child of that child. Like, you ignored it and you're just, why am I so angry kind of thing. But now it's that I don't have that misplacement anymore. I mean, sometimes, you know, I'll get tried and tested. God will do that, but for me, but this isn't that. This is just what happened. Even if it was 10 years ago, and you know, one of his daughters was saying, like, that's a lot of time to process it. Why now? Why on a platform? People are saying, why didn't I go to the authorities at 13? I'm not a 13-year-old black girl from the projects is not going to go to the authorities. Like, I was scared of getting my mom in trouble because she would have. Then now I'm not in that space of getting her in trouble, but back then, yeah, like if I did that to my 13-year-old, I'm pretty sure they'd take him away from me. I'm pretty sure I would probably be arrested, you know. So I would never do that. And as a mom, you're just realizing like things you just wouldn't do and her wrongs. And yeah, that was wrong. I do hurt from that, that I was put in that situation in the first place. But the fact that the situation happened doesn't make it less on her, more on her. It makes, he has to take some of the blame. There was 2 adults in that situation. And the grooming, I didn't realize I was groomed because until like my husband was putting words to it. Like, that's like, I wouldn't go to my nieces and and be alone with them in a room. Like, I just wouldn't. And I'm just like, oh, men, you know, like, oh. And hearing, you know, that my grandma was sexually assaulted at like 5, my aunts 3, my, you know, all of this stuff that my family has been through, all of this trauma that my family has been through, from the emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, has just, I'm just tired of it. Honestly, I think I just woke up tired of it. I was tired of that anxiety. I was tired of carrying everyone's weight, and doing that, I realized I'm releasing like their pain, like through me. They probably are still feeling it, but I think once I'm done with this journey, my family will feel less heavier. I do, because someone has to show them that you don't have to protect your abuser. Someone has to be a voice for children to even tell them that if your parents are doing this, if your parents making you feel uncomfortable and touching like a no spot, or if you have been in the past, then you have to say it out loud. Don't think about that person's well-being. Don't think about them losing their, like, because when the people start saying where he worked, I'm like, the Stockholm Syndrome was like, I hope this man doesn't lose his job. And then I prayed and cried, and I was like, no, whatever his consequences were, just like if I did something and when I did do anything and I have a consequence coming, I have to accept that and go with that. Even my husband's like, if there's a consequence coming, like he left the car running and it got stolen, you know, whatever consequence comes with that, you left it open. There's certain things that people do that just is a cosmic coming to light. And even for him, this journey, his path is just coming to light now. Like, you shouldn't have been around me when I was 13. You shouldn't have drove me to that apartment, and you should have not told me to lay down and take my clothes off. You do not, adults should not be telling children to take their clothes off. I mean, you know, as mothers, getting them in baths, but if they're like, you know, 8 years old, you shouldn't be doing, you know, no. I'm actually not happy that his daughters are attacking me, but I am happy to know that, hey, they're defending him because nothing ever happened to them. That's good. I don't know if there's other young women that he has manipulated into sleeping with him. Um, I don't know. No one said that he has daughters, and I'm I'm glad that that he is not he has not done anything to them. As far as I know, if they're attacking me like this, then I'm sure he was probably a good dad. That's great. My dad's good. My grandfather was the same way. He was my pop. Like, I loved him. I love him. But he was molesting his daughter. But he never did anything to her sister, my grandmother. But his older daughter, he was molesting her. He's gone. He's dead and gone now, and she's a crackhead somewhere. Rosalie, if this reaches you, I'm sorry that I said crackhead. Um, I know that my grandfather, your father, um, I don't want to ever downplay, because that's what's been going on with me. I never want to downplay like your trauma. Please reach out to me. I love you. We are family. I don't know you, but I know that if you've had children, that generational pain has to stop somewhere, and they are my cousins. So, sorry, I had to. God was like, you need to correct yourself now. um, so I've been crying. I've been happy. I've been. Um, I've stopped. I need to stop responding to the whoever's creating these accounts on his behalf, or if the other person said they're close to me. I don't have people close to me. They're my husband, but he's not stupid. He's not evil. Like, he wouldn't just do that. And my children, then they don't have devices, so that's about it. I never talked to this person about hating men. I don't hate men. Um, I love my husband. I love my father-in-law. They're great men. Like, my stepdad, I have a great relationship with him till this day. He's never done nothing to me. Like, none of. I have my Uncle John. I love him. He's never done nothing weird to me. Um, so no, I don't. I don't hate men. I don't even hate him. I don't have. I don't hate people. People are hateful. I'm not a hateful person. Anybody who knows me and like is seeing this, you know that I'm not. I can't be. Like, I can't. Like, I just can't. And it's just what happened. I don't know why people want me to go to, or wanted me to go to the authorities. That's hard. Um, when you don't have an advocate to speak up for the my inner child, the little black girl in the projects, and it could be any race. I'm just saying, as for my demographic, that's what it was. No one's gonna pay attention to that. They just don't. So it was normalized to just stay quiet um, till the next day came. Um, so I want to get into the molestation. And honestly, those words I know are like triggering people, because you're probably gonna be like, my uncle, father, dad, whatever, he is not a rapist. If we take that away and just say, like, okay, he had sex at 32, 33 with a 13-year-old, that's not okay. I hope that you don't think that that's okay that he did that. I'm not saying you have to hate your father, but you just, like, that's not okay. Um, I don't know if he told you guys that he knows me, or that's what I do when I stop. There was a comment. That's what I do when I stop I feel like these comments are either his daughters or him, or what he's telling his daughters or telling a cousin or telling someone, and they're doing that to defend him. But know that, you are bullying me. You are victim blaming. I'm not lying. If for just this moment right now, to give some kind of respect to his family, if we just take away the word rape or molestation and say that if he knows me, he was 30, I was 13, that's statutory rape. That's not, or just say that that's not okay. Like, it's not okay, But if you just outright don't believe it, that's fine too. Whatever your spirit is telling you, when you're around him, when you hear the stories he's telling about me, whatever your spirit is telling you, you believe that. I'm okay with that. God sees that. I'm his daughter, so God's going to reveal that to you in some way, and I pray for that. Not in a malicious way, but just in, there's something in your spirit that needs to probably heal. Not that he did anything, but so long I know I protected my mother even from saying like, oh, my mom abused me. Like, to say those words is like you're telling the world like your mom was horrible. There's times I remember she was great, but then also she lost a lot in her life, and think a lot has happened to her in her life. So you're more, as a child, understanding and your parents hurt and your parents' mistakes, and you love them. But when I went no contact, I was like, no, that's wrong. But I know I now can be like, I can truly say that was wrong without like calling her out, her name in my head, like without a misplaced anger. We have every right to be angry at our parents. We have every right, as long as you're expressing. Anger is a totally healthy emotion, I believe. If it's expressed the right way. Like right now I'm angry. The other day I was like triggered and yelling, and I think I cursed out his niece, and I feel bad about that. That's not funny, but I was very sensitive yesterday because I was being so vulnerable, and that vulnerability was being violated. And when that happened, I felt violated again. I did. I'm like, man, did he really just like the knot I felt just of like creep, like saying that I'll never be your friend again, was just like, why were we even friends then? Like, ew. That's all I felt. And I felt disgusted with myself too. I think I've always felt gross about it. I did. I've always felt uncomfortable and uneasy about my first time, and then I cringe at the fact that I'm like, now I would fight. The freeze is gone, so I feel like even that, just because God and everything is good. I'm not saying that was good, but in that situation I found the good. Like I'm tired of just looking at the negatives. Like, what did I learn from that experience? Like, I cringe from it, but like let myself actually like remember. And when I start remembering, it wasn't like, ooh, it was like, no. Release that. You are disgusted. That makes me feel disgusting that I laid there and didn't put up a fight. But that made me weak for so long that when I look at the good, I'm like, that's a strength now, because I would bust someone up. And now I'm aware, like, if I see a kid out, come here. Where's your mother? Let me call somebody. You stay right there. And I'm calling, I would just step in, not in a Karen-like way, but in like, no, like now I'm able to like have this discernment about me that has helped me keep my kids safe. And I can say they're not going to grow up with the story and the sleepwalking that I did for so long. Because, man, even having my son at 21 and not like really just like, oh, that was my first time, but letting things just happen to me with men, I cringe and I'm like, oh, but having my son, I'm like, man, I have someone to raise now out of this. And I did it, but I slept walk through it. And now being a stay-at-home mom and looking at my children, I'm like, I slept walk through even raising him through being grounded and seeing those moments. I just was like on like schedule, work, daycare, pick you up, food, sleep, a little bit of playtime, but um, I had found some loneliness after some time to be alone after his father, and but you're not really alone because you're raising, you're just stuck as a single mom. And I had some moments when I moved in with my father and his family where um, my son could be in a safe place and watched by my sisters, and just know that he was like safe, and I was able to feel certain things. And then meeting my husband and marrying him and just sharing, when you have a trauma, you overshare. So I'm oversharing this information, and he's just like, what? Say that again? No, like that, what? And he's getting hyped, and I'm like, why? And I'm really thinking like it's a normal, that Stockholm syndrome. I'm really just thinking like that was just supposed to be my first time, and I was happy about it. No, I'm not happy about it. I'm, I saw pictures of him and his daughters younger, around my age, when he was around me and his arm was around him, and that broke me. It did. I was like, oh man. He knew how to talk to. He knew how to groom. He knows how to groom because he has daughters. You know that people want to be daddy's little girl, and you want to appease your dad, and I get it. But again, that doesn't take away my story. I'm not telling the story as your father did this. I told the story as Loco did this to me, and I was this age, and this was my experience. I'll share those experiences on another thing. I'm kind of going round and round with it, but there was just so much that I wanted to address by reading the comments and the bot accounts that are accusing me of lying and making platforms or defamation. It's not. I'm not lying, so I don't understand the defamation in it. Yeah, it's embarrassing you, but the time that you had me around all these people and other adults not even saying any, well, they're all men, so they weren't saying anything when he would take me to the room and put his jacket around me and things like that. I don't know proof, but if his I don't know, his daughters were too young, but if you like remember something when he had that motorcycle, or his baby mothers, if you have questions that like only you know that I can know, I'll let you know. I know some things, and I was scared to go to the authorities when I was 13 because one, I didn't think I had a voice. No one was protecting that. Two, I didn't really know how. I know you can call them and whatever, but you're not gonna sit there. Like I said, I didn't have a cell phone, or I'm not gonna borrow someone's ask to go in their house and be like, can I call the cops? Like, I didn't feel that in that time. I was in real danger. I knew that it was wrong and that I was scared, but I didn't feel danger because he wasn't hitting me. I didn't feel danger. I just felt numb, like still, and like a robot. So and also, he sold drugs, and he had weapons like around. And how he talked, he was ganging. So I'm like, I'm not telling nobody nothing. This man will kill me. Like, I really thought that if I did say something that I would probably come up missing. Like one time I got away from him somehow, and I ran to this little playground that was in between two houses in the projects, and I just hid in that little tunnel. Like I just was like, oh, like I was tired of it. That was like my fight, was running over there like mad. Um, but then after I got out and he came around, said, get on his bike, and I did. So yeah, I did. I put myself in those situations, but it doesn't. There's children that when you want ice cream, you want candy. Kids do that, and I I was aware in the back of my head, like my mom was like, always don't go with nobody that tries to give you candy or says my dog is sick. Like she would say things like that, but it didn't like register. And I know that now, having my like son, it like I tell him to do something, he'll forget. Not that you would forget to like not go with a man, but there was a certain trust that I built with him that was built, that I'm like, you just listen. Um, and people do, they trust their abusers sometimes. I mean, that's not a wild thought, that's true. So that was just my situation. It wasn't aggravated, like it wasn't like pounding my face in or whatever, but yeah, I was scared. I was 13. That was my first time. I'm over the I cry sometimes, but like saying it is just like how my husband is. I've learned to be very like logical and fact based. Like that's just what happened. Not sitting here like, I don't know why that thought isn't someone could make something up. I know that it happens, and I've rarely seen it, but I have seen it happen. Um, that's just not this. I don't. I think the video was more like it got him scared because why else would you even speak about it? It's weird. Um, this is all weird to me, but I will. People do want to know what happened, and that will be in the next episodes. Right now I'm kind of in a place of fear of like, are you really gonna sue me because of my truth? And then like, I don't know. I'm just gonna trust that God is stronger than what he'll try to do, than what James will try to do. If that's what I have to go through as a defamation, then then it's like, then you have to be in trouble too. I won't be in trouble, but I'll go through that process. But it's just like, you have to like say what you did too, like you did. And then if we do have to take a lighter like, come on, like don't let it go that far, because I'm gonna record that too. Like, but yeah, I also, that's what I really wanted to do as well, is get on here. And it's 3:50, but it's on a Sunday. I wanted to look up some. I'm gonna look up a Denver, like a Denver, the sheriff's office, and just call them and kind of put them on speaker so people know, like, now, okay, I called the authorities, and that's kind of like what this looks like. I wasn't going to go that far because his family, but since they know, and I don't know if this is proof, but at least now I can call the authorities, even though it happened 10 years ago. At least I'm wondering if they can just give me any kind of information. I just wanted to get on here and just explain that my phone, what I was recording on yesterday died. My tablet. So I didn't get to call, plus it was Sunday, and like I said, when I did call, it was just like how to reach inmates. So being in a different state, I can't just like call 911. But if anyone can at least comment below the sheriff's office, I can call and I'll record that process, and that way it kind of shows what you do, and if that ever happens. Um, I'm just going to call and pretty much ask questions about the statute of limitations and what I would do if um, I'm ready to speak up. And so we'll see how nice they are to me about it, and we'll see what that process is like. I will do that sometime, maybe this week, today, but I will call. That was so many people's suggestions. It's like, call the cops. So we're gonna just see where that takes, what path that leads me. I think I need to pray more about it, but I definitely wanted to record the process. So that wasn't like I was like led to do so yesterday, and just as it died and I went home, and now waking up, I'm just like, okay, I'll start that process again when I'm ready. But I definitely will record that for you guys. Like I said, leave some comments of numbers that maybe I can call out there, or if you are out there in Colorado and know just the local sheriff's office, I just want to call and pretty much ask questions. So thank you guys for listening to that. I am right now about to head and record for my podcast to really get the story out there. And so if I'll link my podcast below if you guys want to know. I'm going to, after praying and talking with my husband, he said that I should. He encouraged me, and so I'm encouraged to do so, to tell the full story, the length, the details, and that process. We talked about that yesterday. Waking up, I feel a knot in my stomach, so I'll I'll keep recording the process for you guys. A lot of people want to know how that is. And this is the point where I'm at in my healing. So God bless everyone. Thank you.